Hi, my name is Alex Ames, otherwise known as ByZenith, and I'm the head coach of Third Impact. At the very beginning, it was me, Get Amazed, and Zykk. And Zykk was already a given from the season before. I'd worked with him a lot the season before on like shot calling and leading. He's an older player, so being able to like be the rock solid, cool as ice in every situation person, I kind of worked with him on that, and I'd like to build off of that. All of the success of the org was on my shoulders, which is a lot of pressure for a 21-year-old. This season, I was like, I have to make a statement. I thought by right now, it was like, if I'm not an owl, I'm done. That's truthfully my goal. I was freaking out about the roster building because it was supposed to be import limit, I thought. And then, so I ended up making my roster with the import limit in mind, and it actually qualified for the import limit of 3 players. But they got rid of it. So I didn't really need to do that, but I ended up doing it anyways, and it worked out just fine. But the trialing process was different than anyone's ever done it before. It took 6 weeks to trial people. And I'm talking like the first people start day 1 and they have to play 6 weeks. And that's like almost 3 or 4 times a week. So by the end, I get to see them, 24 times, 20 times. So you get to know a lot about someone based off the scenarios you throw them in. I trialed around 75 people, 60, 75 people, staff included. And I did it by myself, which was a nightmare. But I did it by myself. I asked Wave and Spork, the owners of Third Impact, like, I told them everything about my goal. Like, I want to build a championship team. This is my last hurrah. I want to win. With a little bit of conversation, they basically said, like, you have a blank check almost to do whatever you want. We didn't have a ton of money. We had a team house, but we didn't have a ton of money to fly international a lot. So that was the thing where Spork and Wave were telling me, hey, just make sure you be mindful of how many international players you pick up. Would burn a hole like in the pockets when we didn't have a lot of money to begin with anyways. The criteria for who I was looking for, I had nothing. It was just people who I thought were good, people who I thought could be good, and people that were good in the past. Ta1yo was one of the people that, like everyone, I thought was really good from World Cup. But they played against decent teams, and he performed pretty well. On GGEA, all the way back when that was a thing, right before they bowed out of trials, he was on that roster, and I actually played against him. That was all the way back. That was the GOATs, when I was on GOATs, like my very first team years ago. And I thought he was good then too. So when I was looking at talent, I saw his name again, and right next to his name had an American flag and a Japanese flag. Like, this guy's American too? Like, so I DM'd him on Twitter. It was like, hey, you want to try or whatever? And I actually didn't have my DMs open, which was funny because he never responded to me, and I was like, why the hell did he never respond to me? I never had my DMs open at the time. So this time I had to make sure my DMs were open and stuff, and he's like, yeah, sure, I'll trial. He ended up playing with us for the 6 weeks of trials, and he was great. He was also in Japan. So for him, we scrimmed right before he went to class in college. He didn't really know if he wanted to pursue school, and he didn't play ranked at all. Like, he was 3,900 on Genji only on his main account when we started the season, and currently he's sitting at 4,600. So he's made a full 180. He didn't believe that he could do it. As soon as Ta1yo got to the States and he started playing with us, he started enjoying it, and the team play was high, and we were climbing up the ranks of NA, and we were playing against better teams, starting to scrim out teams. He started getting it. You need to practice outside of scrims, and he became the proponent for that, which is crazy. Like, he was always telling people, like, hey, you guys need to play ranked. Go play ranked tonight. Go watch VODs tonight. What I said earlier, perfect teammate. That's what you want. He goes off on his own and does his own thing. Reviews his own gameplay. Watches Owl for the people that he needs to see. Like, if it's a certain character, like, just foaming at the mouth for the Korean Sombras. He was totally just fully invested. Even, like, recently was like, hey, I'm probably gonna have to go back to school at the end of the season. So I understood that, and that resonated with me. And I was like, just wait till like the regular season ends of Owl and the signing window opens. Wait till then. He's a grinder now, like, which is a huge 180 from what he was before. So Carter and Ta1yo were the first 2 people that I looked at. I liked Carter a lot more than Ta1yo at the time because Carter had really good raw mechanics compared to Ta1yo. Ta1yo was on ping. That's why he wasn't incredibly like mechanically gifted at the time, but Carter's a goofball. So I ended up going with Ta1yo originally because of like Carter's antics, and then Ta1yo can't play Widow to the same level Carter can. And if God forbid a Widow meta happens, I need Carter. So I picked up both of them, and Carter knew like from the very get-go that you're going to be a sub. I want you to grow and learn, and we'll integrate you as much as possible, and you'll get as much time as we can get. But I think Carter was like incredible. So having him was a great asset. And then Ta1yo at the same time was the perfect teammate He's positive. He's like mentally strong. He doesn't give up. He does everything you require a main support to do in a hit scan role. Some hit scans can't speak when they play the game, but Ta1yo is planning, ult tracking, everything all the time, and there's no off button. And then I had Zykk come in. I like to be strategic with the way I pick players of like, I want to be meta proof, which means I could play everything. There's the brawl or rush comp. There's the spam or double shield comp. There's dive. And then there's a hybrid, which it kind of encompasses everything. If we can play all 4 of those compositions, we're golden. And the most important thing was finding a good flex DPS. That's a true flex. Zykk is the only true flex player in tier 2 at the time. True flex. Which means he could play all the projectiles and all the hit scans at a really high level. I've seen him just rando pick Torben or Scrim and just really like kill it. And he's never had a minute on that character in his life. So he's a naturally gifted player. And I needed someone like that to fill all the bases. That's what's crazy. His parents gave him 1 year to try to go pro, and he's on the Defiant. Zykk from day 1 had the hardest job of the team. I told him, I'm like, look, this is how this is going to work. Ta1yo is going to be the one that gets all the glory. He's going to get all the flashy plays. He's going to look amazing on camera. But any team that is smart is going to watch you and realize that it's all you teeing it up for him. When we played Baldiva, Tracer Kree, Brig Zen, or something like that, you play Tracer in order to force them into Ta1yo's LOS. You bait for him, always. And then Mei was the same thing. You want to wall them into Ta1yo's LOS. You want to play where Ta1yo wants to like get value. He never had flashy plays where he just popped off and killed 6 or whatever because that wasn't his job. I told him, I'm like, you need to play supportive for Ta1yo. And he's the best person to do that. Like, it's all for Ta1yo. It is all for everyone else but himself. And that takes a big person to like set your ego aside and not pop off and say, I'm going to be selfless and I'm going to set up everyone else but myself. Like, that's huge. People are like, oh, I'm shocked he went before Ta1yo or Iris or Decod or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not. He deserves it just as much as everyone else does because he's the silent carry. And he was the epitome of consistency. And it was bittersweet, I'll be honest. It was very bittersweet. He mentioned it in one of his interviews. It was in French, but yeah, the coaching staff told me to go, and I felt bad about it. Truthfully, I didn't want him to go because we were like days away from week 4. Like, we were clicking and things were working out, and then he got the offer from Toronto, and the first thing I said to him is, go, take it. Like, I know what you're capable of. Go do it in the Overwatch League, and they'll take you. I hope that like he doesn't feel bad for leaving. I told the players from the get-go, if you get something that's better than here, I don't want you here. Like, if you deserve better and someone wants you that, like, where you're getting paid and you can have a future, have your life mapped out for you after that, don't wait for me. So I'm hyped for him. I'm super excited for him. And scrambling to fill that gap sucked because it left a big void. Now, Reyzr has filled it damn well. He can't play everything that Zykk can because Zykk is a true flex. Reyzr's not a true flex in the sense that he can't play Tracer yet. He can't play Ashe yet. He can't play Widow yet. He's going to get there. When Zykk got contacted by Toronto Defiant, it went really fast. They moved really fast on him. We were days away from playing, and it was going to be a nightmare to find someone at the right time or whatever. So I basically went through teams that couldn't qualify for playoffs. I was basically looking through their rosters to see what flex DPS can I have for the rest of the season. And Reyzr was one of them. I knew that he was just a sub on Rival at the time, and he was young, and I knew from other people playing with him that he was really hungry to learn. I knew Reyzr when he was on phase 1, and to see how far he's come as a flex DPS is pretty impressive. And it worked out where like he DM'd me back right away, like, yeah, I'll ring for you. He understood the circumstances of like, hey, Zykk's trailing for Defiant, like, and we need someone now. And he was like, yeah, sure, I'm okay with that. But throwing him in the situation and seeing how he learns was great. Freaking grinded Echo. He hadn't played Echo in a competitive environment like at all up until when we picked up in week 4. So he had like a handful of days in order to play Echo in a competitive environment. And he freaking killed it. He's never played this high level before, and he came in and loved it. He ate all the information, like 2 to 3 hours of VODs a day. The kid was just grinding nonstop. Like, he was just a sponge of information. So Maze wanted to be done with playing because he hated Sigma and he couldn't get back into grinding hard. And then the main tank that I had didn't end up working out. And Sword suggested we pick up Decod and Icy. And I've told Icy this before. I actually thought Icy was really bad. This guy must not have a grip, not know what the hell he's doing. Right? Come to find out, it was mostly like he calls it. It's just that his team needs to follow up on it. I either keep Amaze on the roster, or I put Amaze on a coaching staff and then put Icy in. and it fixes my Sigma issue. And yeah, the Diva's weaker, but is Diva really going to be meta? Which it didn't end up being for a bit, and then it did become meta, which was funny because Amaze was like, oh, dude, see, I told you, but... So that ended up working out, and I thought from listening to Icy's comms, he was a smart player. And Decod had already trialed. He rang a block for us because I needed a main tank. So I liked Decod already. Decod is the team dad. Decod is like an old school main tank, so he can play everything. He's really good at horse. He's really good at ball. So he's everything I need him to be, which is awesome. And then on top of that, like, he does have the experience of age, which I actually value much more. So having someone that is seasoned and older and respected among the players, like, buy into that was a huge deal for me. So having like 2 solid pillars between him and Zykk were like really desirable for me. I knew that I didn't have to do all the talking. We have VOD review or discussion. He's the first person to respond. What should we do here? I think we should do this. If someone doesn't respond or someone's not paying attention, he's on them. It's like an extension of me within the team. He'll always have suggestions of how to do things, what he wants to do, how things can be better. He's very analytical with why he's doing stuff. Everything we say, it might come off as harsh, but it's all for learning. It's just because we care, right? It's like a family thing. Like, that's what I built the pillars of this team on. Like, we're a family, not a team. Family is like blood, and that connection is stronger than a team. And he's one that like really truly cares about the team and growing and improving and making sure that all the areas are covered. So that's basically Decod. He's an absolute class to have. So after that, I got into Hyun, or Iris. I got the option to pick him up. My social media manager, Bam, but he DM'd me and he was like, hey, I don't know if you trust me very much, but I do scouting on the side, and there's this player named Iris who's really good. And then he's like, yeah, he's playing for Triumph's Academy Exalt at the time. I had to pull some strings because his Discord name's in Korean and it's not in English. So I had to like figure out how to find his name in Korean, and I found him, and he came and trialed for probably 2 weeks into the trials. He was instantly my favorite player. After a few blocks, I could tell if you get his English right, you integrate him into a team fully, he's nuts. He's probably better than most of your flex supports in Owl. I distinctly remember pinning him against another flex support who is an Owl currently, and he absolutely bodied him. He's the first person you should sign. Just trust me. You like bring him into a block. You won't be let down. I promise you. When we got the question, it was given to Alice, our manager, and she DM'd it not even to the players. It was just to the staff. And when she sent like who's the MVP for the season, I think at the same time, me, Sword, and Natter all said him, simply for how hard the guy goes and how much he invests into this. Like noon to midnight, he played Overwatch non-stop. That's scrims, review, and then straight into like 3 or 4 hours of ranked. I've never seen someone so so self-sufficient ever. Like when we lose, he's straight headphones off and he watches the whole VOD through. We played 15 blocks a week. I can guarantee he watched those entire blocks over again. And then talking to the staff of like what could be done better. He's the best team player you could ask for. And if I could have 6 of him, I would. So he motivates people to go harder. He's the first person to DM me about if something's like going really wrong that I haven't fixed. He's like, hey, like this is notes we need to go over. He brings a whole separate side of experience from Korea, and like when he speaks, everyone listens, which makes him the MVP. Like he's outgrinded everyone. He's worked as hard as everyone in contenders, and it's insane how much talent he has and how much drive he has. And that alone makes him the MVP. Plus, when it was week 2, when we were playing Ryan, Zarya, Creme, Zen, Brig, every team was playing on a Brig. In the semifinals, when we played against Envy, they were hard pressuring him in the backline, just going after him, because he's a carry. If you leave him alone, like it's dangerous. And the entire last 2 maps were just us screaming mid-fight, carry him, carry on, carry me, and everyone's just like, carry on, and then we're just calling targets. So like, he's very, like, if you don't have him and you take him out of the equation, we're much worse, and everyone on the team will agree to that. You take Hyun out of the equation, it's drastically worse. So that's why he's my MVP. We played them 5 times throughout the season, and I'm including the envious time. It's great to have someone that's that good to be rival. Like it was very apparent towards week 3 and 4 that we were the best 2. And second win and Triumph were close, but they were like, we were the best 2, and then they were the second best 2. Yeah, it's really fun to play against them. From a coaching standpoint, especially, we play two different styles. Our style is very oriented around getting 6 people value at all time. Whereas theirs is, if you watch like replay codes and like how hard they pocket Kevster, theirs is like, we're gonna pocket our DPS and everyone else is gonna set them up. Going into the matches, specifically week 4 and the finals, I made a very big mistake. So, for some reason, my staff decides to just record my pregame speeches. I don't know who told them that was okay, but it happens. We prepared for week 4 like we were going to war against like another nation for like all or nothing. Like we prepared to like give everything or die trying. I got them to peak at week 4. That game in week 4, the grand finals, was the best Overwatch we've ever played. I realized after, I was like, kind of had an oh shit moment. How do I beat that? Like I just gave like the grand finals hype speech for week 4. We have a whole nother set of playoffs to go. So that's where I messed up badly. If I'm sitting here like being motivational to you every single day, after a while it just becomes like normal talking. So I couldn't take them to the same place mentally that I did on week 4. I would love to have seen them in the grand finals the way they played versus us how we played on week 4. Because I think when we for lack of a better word, kicked their ass in week 4, it woke them up, and they kicked our ass in the grand finals. So to be able to come back from a mental blow like a 3-0 when you're on top of the world is a lot, and props for them to do it. Like they're good players. They should be proud of what they did. I tweeted about it. I talked to them about it. The only thing from the speech that I'll kind of divulge is like Doge beats you guys 9 times out of 10, but it can't be tomorrow. And this was the day before. I was like, it can't be tomorrow. And like I built off of that. Like you have a 1 in 10 shot of just mopping the floor with them, and that 1 in 10 shot was that Sunday in week 4. And then guess what? The other 9 out of 10 times was every other time we played them from then on. So I really appreciate like those guys like battling too. Those guys busted their ass too. They don't have coaching staff. They don't review a ton. They don't have like infrastructure. As soon as they lost the envy spot, they lost the staff too, and that's a big blow. And to be able to come back and just dig and climb from that is a big deal, and they should all be proud of that individually. To have someone that is that seasoned competing against us is a big deal. After week 4, we did not scrim them at all. I told my manager, we're not touching that team until we get to the grand finals, because I don't want them knowing a single thing of what we do at all. Scrim them a little bit before week 4, and I don't think we won a map. We play a little more relaxed in scrims than we do in officials. Yeah, those guys are the real deal. Kevster's the real deal. So I'm super happy to like be able to compete against those guys all season. Thank you to the Third Impact fans, the most out of anyone, really. Since day 1, you've been very supportive for everyone and all that we've done together as a unit, because the boys do work hard. Like we work hard to try to have success, and you guys are the perfect reward for us. So like I can't thank you guys enough for sticking through it with us all season. And for the 6 guys in Reyzr, it takes a lot for you to invest in something that maybe you don't believe in at the beginning. Like from day 1, I was very adamant, like we're gonna be a family, we're gonna be great. Like, I can't thank you enough for like how invested you were in that statement of like, we're gonna make Third Impact the best team in North America. Like I do thank you guys for all the hard work you guys have put in. But my parents, my mom and my dad, and my brother, who's over there somewhere, but they've always been there to support me. Like how much you've given me and like allowed me and enabled me to like have success and like chase what I want to. So that'll be it. I am ByZenith, the head coach of Third Impact, and next season, season 2, I know Doge will not be here in its entirety, but I'll promise you that you are going to see an even better form of us come July. Yeah, Third Impact, baby. Woo!